Hello, everybody. Welcome to the November episode of the Coffee Talk Forum. Training, onboarding, and developing company policy are areas of the cleaning industry that ISSA Canada frequently receives questions about. So owners are looking for answers to their training and onboarding processes, as well as simplifying their company policies and procedures and ensuring staff are consuming them. So today, I'm really pleased to welcome our special guests, Sara Martlage, Sales Manager at Trainual, and Shawn Jensen, a Senior Success Coach at Trainual, as well as members of the ISSA Canada Residential Cleaning Committee and Trainual Power Users, Mark Baker, CEO of Motivated Brands, Inc., and Shania Williams, VP of Motivated House Cleaners, and experienced Trainual user, Judith Farag, owner of Clean Club Calgary. Welcome everyone, and thank you for your time today. So as a certified Trainual business coach, I'm going to pass the mic to Mark to lead our conversation today. But I would like to remind everyone that if you have any questions along the way, please include them in the chat and we will address them at the end of the session. Thanks a lot, guys. Take it away, Mark.
Hi, everyone. Thanks to our attendees and thanks to our fellow panel members. And thank you for the introduction, Tanya. So my name is Mark Baker. And in June of 2016, I started a house cleaning company in St. John's, Newfoundland, Labrador. So a very small market for our American friends, Sara and Shawn, probably compared to your Delaware, one of your smaller states. Newfoundland, Labrador is about 500,000 people in the province. And I started the house cleaning business in a small city there. And I made a whopping 90 Canadian dollars my first month of business, June of 2016. And I worked very hard. And by November of 2019, just before the pandemic, I had done 1.87 million in annualized sales. So worked very hard in the city. And then unfortunately, we did get shut down due to the pandemic. And we took that opportunity to retool and reinvent ourselves. And on November the 1st, we launched Motivated House Cleaners, which is a national coast-to-coast residential house cleaning service. And Shania Williams is our vice president of that division. On December the 1st, we're actually launching Canada's first ever on-demand mobile national haircutting service, Motivated Haircutters. And at the same time, concurrently on December the 1st, we're launching Motivated Cat Groomers. So we've been very busy, and Trainual has played a very integral part in this for us. So this is the reason why I wanted to bring Trainual to our beloved house cleaning industry so that other people can get the benefits that I've enjoyed since onboarding with Trainual back in about 2018, early 2019. So for us, as you can imagine, we expect to onboard about 500 professional house cleaners from St. John's, Newfoundland to the West Coast Pacific Ocean by the end of next quarter. As well, we do expect to onboard about 500 professional hair cutters and about 100 pet groomers. So going from where we are today to onboarding so many people, how do we get them to do the things the way we do it? How do we teach them what they need to know about how we can consistently deliver good or great and predictable results to the consumer? And that's a very large endeavor for us. And I have peace of mind knowing that Trainual is the perfect tool to help us do that. And what makes Trainual really special is that some people would group it as a learning management software. But really, it's not an LMS software. It's actually in a category all on its own. And I think Sara and Shawn are going to talk about that. In fact, some real industry leaders such as Shaquille O'Neal, former NBA star, owner of over 200 businesses, Gary Vee, who is an internet and marketing sensation, and have gotten on board. And the gentleman from the Sharks Den, he's got on board. And they just raised over almost $30 million in funding because people really believe in what they're doing. And it's a very powerful tool. But what they've done is they've made it simple to use. So creating the content for whomever to consume on the other end is just easy and non-intimidating. And consuming the content on the other side is also easy and non-intimidating. So rather than create a situation where there's a lot of bells and whistles that just become too much and cause analysis paralysis, you never get anything done because it's just so much. You've got a very short learning curve. And as I close this out and hand it over to our two special guests, I just want to say that Shania currently is building training for our support agents because we're just about to offer 24/7, 365 live support through multiple channels. And she's using Trainual to build out that training. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not worried. One, because, well, Shania is really competent. But two, she's got a great tool that she can use to make sure that we can have people literally on the other side of the planet that we can work with really effectively thanks to Trainual. So I'm a huge Trainual fan. I'm also a certified Trainual consultant. So I don't do it on a regular basis, but if anyone through ISSA is interested in just learning how to use Trainual, Sara and Shawn are going to share a link you can go on. That link should give you about a week's free trial, which would be great. And also, too, they've created a special promo code just for whomever consumes this content. And it says ISSA 10, and you'll get 10% off your entire next full year of using Trainual if you decide to become a user. So, and Tanya will share my credentials, my phone number, my email. Feel free to reach out. And if you want some help getting Trainual up and running, as I always say, done is better than none. And I'm really good at helping you to get past whatever roadblocks you have and get your business out of your mind and into Trainual.
Awesome. Well, it's good to be here, everybody. My name is Shawn Jensen. As was mentioned, I'm a senior success coach here at Trainual, and I'm one of our Trainual. I've got my Trainual hype squad shirt on today, so I'm kind of all about the hype. I love the Trainual. There you go. Trust the process. You got that going on, Mark. So really excited to be able to chat through and walk through Trainual here with you here today. So Sara's going to kind of kick this off and jump into the program, give you a kind of overview of what Trainual is all about. And I love, Mark, that you brought up a little bit earlier that, we get bundled together with, LMSs or wikis or what the heck is Trainual anyway? Well, that's what we're going to be covering here in a couple minutes. And then we'll be sure to answer any questions you have, right? So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on over to my partner here.
There we go.
Super Sara. Take it away, Sara.
Super Sara is here. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so grateful for this opportunity to present Trainual for the ISA Residential Cleaning Network over there. Most of you are in Canada. My name is Sara, like Mark and Tanya was so kind to refer to, and I am our sales manager over here. So I've had a unique story, just, starting with Trainual 3 years ago. I'm one of the first 5 team members here. So much like probably all of you, I've had a hand in a lot of different pieces of the business, and it's been so fun to build this incredible system as it is today. And it's been amazing developing this relationship with Mark. So what we can do is just kind of kick things off. So a couple things that you just kind of want to make sure that you understand what Trainual is. So these next couple slides, we'll just talk a little bit about what Trainual is. We have plenty of time to kind of go through the demonstration today of our internal Trainual account, so you can see actually how we drink our own Kool-Aid over here. But I think this slide really encapsulates a couple things. So a lot of you probably are used to seeing some of these old printed manuals that I'm sure some of you may still utilize or have something on a shelf today. A lot of those tend to collect dust, and they really don't become prioritized in being able to keep your content up to date. But that's okay, because a lot of times and a lot of businesses have started to evolve, and we've started kind of in a more digital world. We have Google Docs, we have Word Docs, we have email where we're sending expectations to our new hires and team members. You can see Slack logos, different means of communication. So you have Microsoft Teams and Slack and GChat, whatever you use, and you're kind of, going back and forth, fielding questions throughout the days. And then also you have like wikis or just like notepads. We use Evernote a lot over here, but obviously some of these logos don't always reflect everything that you're using. But I think, and most importantly, is that from 2000 to 2020, a lot of people are digitizing their business. And so today, what we've done is trying to consolidate all these disparate systems and putting them in one simple solution. So being able to kind of capture all of your knowledge in one simple place by leveraging a lot of the content that you've already documented and put your blood, sweat, and tears in. Again, a lot of that content that could be using some of the information and the foundational, history of your company that's living in those binders. That doesn't really change too frequently, but you may have some artifacts or pictures you want to update. But Trainual just makes it so much easier for people to access that information on the go, and then to also have a really easy way to deploy that to your team members. So I'm excited to kind of show you a little bit more. So Trainual really kind of falls into this like business playbook category. So we're kind of creating our own unique niche within the industry of really defining what a playbook is. So a playbook really is just a perfect analogy of what people use for their sports teams. Everybody has a playbook of, their secret sauce of what makes them them, and ultimately how they actually get their departments up and running and give them the information that they need to be successful. And those come with hundreds and thousands of iterations. So you're constantly evolving, you're constantly changing. But most importantly, you can capture some of your static company knowledge, your new hire orientation, your culture, your brand and positioning, your team directory, being able to kind of store who does what inside the company. And then also you start talking about your roles and your policies, and just really making sure that your policies, those are your rules inside the company. So you really want to make sure that everybody's extremely aligned. And so when we talk about playbook, you kind of have these different categories that you start to capture knowledge, but you don't really have an easy way to deploy that. And so Trainual makes it a lot easier and a lot more simplistic to kind of create that information on the fly. As Mark would say, what's your little slogan is done is better than perfect, or done is better than none. But essentially from there, you have the accountability. So you have role-based assignments, you have completion tracking, knowing that people are actually going through this information and they have the most up-to-date information at their fingertips. You can have additional knowledge checks on quizzes or short testing components just to make sure you're driving the point home and understanding a certain process within a particular department. And then any recurring trainings. A lot of you are in the cleaning industry. A lot of you have very specific safety protocols. And so being able to be legally bound and responsible for making sure that people have the information that they need and you can refer back to, and to tell your equivalent to OSHA that you've actually trained your employees on a specific process. That's really important as a business owner to make sure you can drive that point home and keep your employees safe.
It's important, Sarah. You had mentioned, if I needed to interject, to go ahead. I think it's really important to drive that home, because just a few years ago, the Canadian government passed a law that holds directors, owners of companies, shareholders of companies legally liable for safety violations. So the first thing that, workplace health and safety, or whatever it's called in each particular province, first thing that they're going to say is hey, did you properly train everybody on the safety protocol? And traditionally before training, they would say, well, yeah, I did. I trained that person. Well, where's your proof? Mm-hmm. And one of the great things this does is that it gives you compliance. So people are going to be able to see, and you can prove that not only did I supply the correct safety information to our people, but again, they consume that information. And I wanted to jump in just for that because, of course, the number one reason for having that safety information in there is to keep people safe, first and foremost. Let's make no mistakes there. But if an accident does happen, you can prove that it wasn't because you didn't properly train people. And that's important with the new Canadian laws that are in place. Thank you, Sarah, for letting me interrupt there.
I love it. No problem at all. So the next little piece, I really want to just make sure that we set the foundation for what Trainual is not, because again, I think there's a lot of different systems and complexity to what you're bringing on. So I do want to set the ground line that Trainual is not an HRIS platform. However, we do integrate with a lot of small to medium sized business HRIS platform tools that are out there to easily import your people, to get them into the system, to assign that content that's relevant to what they do. We are working on an e-signature component to the system. So when we start talking about policies or rules, that's going to be a really critical area and a big focus for Q1 of next year to make sure that that's deployed within your policies and your rules and any compliance training that you really want to make sure somebody is signed off on. But that's coming. But right now you do have the actual accountability of them marking complete and their content and full robust reporting as well. File storage system, at the end of the day, we are not trying to replace your Dropbox, your Google Drive, wherever you're storing a lot of your files and your to-do systems. That information is really going to be stored in those company intranets that you have preference of. So Trainual at least captures all of that critical information and puts it into a system so you can easily go through it so you're not filtering through a billion folders. To-do list. So ultimately you talk about project management systems. A lot of you, again, are working in the cleaning industry. You have checklists for your to-do items. You're not using Trainual as that type of tool. Trainual is a place where you train your employees of how to do that process. So really being able to define and delineate who is needing access for their to-do list versus you want to train them on a specific process of their how-to. So if they're trained properly, then they don't need to necessarily refer to a to-do list every time. The other component is Scorm Compliance. We get this content question a lot. Shawn is our mastermind behind all of our pre-curated templates that are available inside Trainual. So they really provide a great way to get you to start creating some of the content that you feel overwhelmed of building out, and you can kind of make this your own. But like Scorm content is like, it's like that pre-curated content that's like just stock content that you don't really have a way to kind of delineate that against your business and really weave that into your profile. So our philosophy is that you're building a playbook that's unique to you. And so because of that, you have a system to build that in. So you're not using external training content, but you can certainly link out whatever you need is necessary for some certain compliance training. The other component, so for the business playbook, our founder just released this and has become very quickly the #1 bestseller for process documentation, really getting your business out of your brain, TM. But we do have the 4 elements of a playbook that goes through our founder's philosophy. So your company, your actual profile of your business, what makes you super unique? Who is the company? Who are the people that actually make up that company, and what do they do within the company? So we have a different section that gets a little bit more granular on those details. And then you have the policies. So policies are the rules and the regulations in your company that everybody should abide by to make sure that they're following that. And then your processes, again, going back to the how-tos. So I hope everybody's super excited because the next little area we'll actually get into the demo. I'm sure you're like, come on, let me see it. Let me see this darn thing. So let me go ahead and share my screen on the other area here. Everybody can see this okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click go. So again, I'm going to show you inside our internal Trainual account. So you get a first look of how we actually drink some of our own Kool-Aid over here. So navigation wise, let's just talk about how this actually views from an admin perspective. So as a CEO or as somebody that's a leader within the company, this is going to be your view inside the system. So you have a couple different tabs on the left-hand side, but let's focus at the very bottom. So my avatar, my progress is going to be one of the most important items that you call attention to, because that's going to be how you actually track to make sure that somebody is staying up to date on their content. I have been a little bit out of Trainual for the past 2 weeks, and we constantly change our content. And so you can see that I have content that's up to date that has been recently released and reworked that I need to go back in and actually start or rework as well. So it's super helpful that I know that I still have about 7% left to go. But when I click start, this is going to kick me back into that particular area of content that I need to focus on so I can get my progress up to 100%. So that's the gamification. That's the name of the goal inside the system. And it's also really nice because you can see the company's overall percentage against yourself. So a couple weeks ago, I was killing it against the company, but apparently I'm falling a little bit behind. So anyway, so my desk is going to be where all users actually start consuming their content. So it's going to be very unique to the person and to the role of the content that they're assigned. So we'll talk about that in just a moment, but just wanted to scroll through here so you can see all of the fun content that I am assigned. And you'll notice a couple little headers of like policy versus company. And so on the left-hand side, as of last month, we've made some like incredible enhancements of Trainual of what it is. And so if I click into company as an admin or somebody that's managing content inside my account, I have company as an area where I really store all of my information that's pertinent about my company profile. So we have 3 different layers that we store content in, which is going to be your subject, that's kind of like the book that you're actually assigning the content by. But if I click this down arrow, it's also going to show me topics. So topics kind of act as like a chapter header within that book of processes that you're breaking down. And then when I expand this further, this goes into a step. So it's really easy to actually create an outline or a framework of what you're building out. But those 3 different layers are really, really important to understand of how Trainual content is actually structured inside the system. I will also call to attention Shawn, because he's here and he has worked tirelessly with a lot of our consultants like Mark in building out some of these robust templates that really help you kind of level up your Trainual when you just feel like you have nowhere to start and you just need some assistance. We've had some incredible examples here that you can build out. So a welcome area. This is all we kind
before you move on, I think that the subjects, topics, and steps is an understated value point for the end user. And it's easy to understate it because it's such an amazing piece of software and you're so excited about it, all the features it has. But from an end user, like our industry has many different groups. So for example, in the residential house cleaning industry or the building service contractor industry, oftentimes people in our industry, it's an ease of entry business. So they're not necessarily tech savvy. For example, 2 maids and a mop. We've all kind of heard that name. You know, you grab a mop and you get to work. And that was me, right? So the thing is that software can be intimidating sometimes. And our industry is now coming of age. We're entering the digital world. And service as a software has made small cleaning businesses have the ability to be like a great big business and be just as powerful. That can be intimidating. So I just want to break it down really, really quick. So you have your subject level, your topic level, and your step level. So you can kind of look at it like this. You can create a course called Cleaning Bathrooms. That's your subject. How to clean a bathroom. Okay, well, let's break it down further. You have your tub. How to clean a tub. How to clean a shower. How to clean a sink. How to clean the exterior cabinets. How to clean the mirror. So let's just say that's we break down now. So we'll go back. How to clean a bathroom, how to clean a tub. Now you can add the step. Step 1, pre-treat. Step 2, step 3, you get down to your rinse, your Shawn, your buffer, whatever. And so just for people that aren't necessarily, techie types and trying to relate a little bit to the house cleaning, we gave Sara and Shawn no notice to come on board with this. So God love them for jumping in on a few days' notice. So they didn't have a chance to tailor this to the house cleaning industry. But I just want to take a second where I can just to say, hey, this allows you to do that for your people. So you don't have to worry about getting those complaints from the customers. And since we started using Trainual, our satisfaction rate has gone up to 98%. So people in the field know how to do their jobs. And people, as a general rule, we want to be successful. We want to be good at what we do. That's how we are as humans. And Trainual allows us and will allow you to give the people that training that they need to be able to do a great job for the consumer at the end of the day. So the fact that they've conceptualized it into subjects, topics, and steps, in my mind, is probably the most powerful feature of the entire platform.
I love that you just brought that up, Mark. I know you mentioned this at the very beginning, that simplicity is a thing that you find in Trainual. That's always been a mantra of ours. We're very, minimalistic in a lot of what we do. But to that point, I've seen Google Drive folders that are like folder within a folder within a folder within a folder it's like it's like Inception folders, right? And so just simply from the idea, I love the example you just brought up, the simplicity of, okay, here's a process I need to document. What are the topics within that process, and then the steps for each one. So nailed that. That's exactly what this is all about.
Yeah, super helpful. Love that you guys chimed in. I certainly want to make this as open and talkative as possible, because it's not just about presenting the tool, it's also relating it to the cleaning industry. But I do think it's also really important to talk about the different areas of where you actually store that content. And for that reason, having your company information, your customer journey, your overall tools and technology stack that you're using, your company perks and benefits, being able to structure that in the company area will become really important. We'll go to people in just a moment, but I do, because we're in this content, mindset, I do want to talk a little bit about processes, because what Mark mentioned is exactly what you would build out inside your processes. So if you think about a particular department, so if you have a cleaning department, or if you have like a, what would be a sector that would be of cleaning tubs, Mark? Would it be like residential cleaning department, or would it be somebody what would you recommend here?
Well, you could say, for example, for us, the way we've kind of broken it out is we have, welcome to Motivated Brands Inc., which is the company that owns the division Motivated House Cleaners. And, right there's a video of me saying, hi, everybody, here's who I am. Here's our company story. And we make that in small, digestible bits. Then Shania takes over, welcome to Motivated House Cleaners. And then she breaks down, and we go through like our mission, our vision, and things like that. We move on to, for example, the technology we use. So we let our people know, hey, you're currently in Trainual, and here's how it works with us. And we just slowly lead them in, and eventually we get to, well, how do I actually clean houses? And then we break that down. And one of the things we do is we have what we call a catch-all, our golden rules of house cleaning. And that golden rules of house cleaning is just broken into those amazing tidbits. Like Judith and I, if we ever sat down, and she's from Calgary, so she probably drinks a beer. So if her and I sat down and she don't whine for sure.
I drink wine
for sure. Yes, okay. Well, I'll drink a beer and you'll drink some wine. And we could talk for hours on just like cleaning secrets, right? So, however you want to break that down is really up to you. But in general, people break, say, house cleaning into kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms, and kind of everywhere else, common areas often. And of course, that's unique to different companies. But in general, that's your 4 areas, We break out other processes like dusting. Dusting is a process we want to break out. We want to break that down to the finest parts, because it's something that's so easy to do well, and it's something that so many companies do poorly, and it's something that matters a lot to the consumer, right? So we spend a lot of time on that. Now, I'm not sure if that answers your specific question, Sarah, but nonetheless, hopefully it's useful to whomever ends up consuming this content.
You just gave some great direction, and this is what Sarah is demonstrating right now. So what she's just done here, she's created a collection called House Cleaning, right? And so inside of this collection of subject content that she's just created, she can now start creating those individual pieces. So creating a subject, maybe this is house cleaning, okay, and then there we go. Then you can select an owner, and we can provide descriptions and do a couple other things. This is going to be here in this collection as she goes ahead and saves that. And once that's saved, now we can start building out just exactly what you talked about, the structure, right? So maybe the first topic is dusting. Yeah, there it is. I love it. Dusting.
Okay.
There you go.
So
and Sarah, the reason why I didn't know how to answer your question at the beginning was I had forgotten that you just done a major upgrade, right?
We
and
did.
You now have collections. So for me, like I literally got up and did a happy dance, because see, we had different services like cat grooming, house cleaning, hair cutting. And what collections does for us is our Trainual can get quite long. But because we group everything to do with hair cutting in a hair cutting collection, it allows us to go in and work on just that collection. And like the vice president of house cleaning, well, she lives in the house cleaning collection, versus hair cutting lives in the hair cutting collection. So those collection features are really great as you do begin to grow and it gets more complex.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's super awesome. And, again, your processes are where you're going to be storing all of your how-tos. So by being able to group those into a collection is what our Trainual gamified foldering system is, which is so helpful for being super intentional about those how-to processes that are grouped in certain departments. That's what's really helpful to actually start building out your steps. And so I want to get into like kind of the meat of what the content looks like, because if I do click into this step, this is actually going to show you the inside of an empty state of our step editor. And so there's a lot of really powerful things that you can do inside here. So I know a ton of you are familiar with Google Docs and Word Docs. And so this functions similar, but actually even better because you have so many different embedding options. So if you do have a particular video that, I know, and for instance, Mark gave a great example that he wants to just put his face to a name and say, hey, like, these are my expectations for you for this dusting section of your training. And so the cool thing is that you'll notice that there's a little record button here. And so we use Loom as our partner of an inside app recorder. So you can actually record yourself or you can record your screen, talk through a particular process so you can see my face. You obviously don't have to just use this screen only for Trainual. You can use it for any other monitor or any other tab that you have open. But this is just a great way to personalize your content. Set the expectations from the very beginning. Progress is better than perfection, and it doesn't have to be this beautiful video that you create, but it just really provides more of a humanized approach to your training. So that can record it, that can load directly inside the system. If anybody does use Loom and they already have an account, we also do have the quick embed option, so you can always pull past video content that you have, or if you want to pull something from YouTube. So being able to link out just a URL and plop it right inside Trainual is super powerful. But there's about 700 different options in here. So there's a ton of different things that you can do by using the content that you currently have and putting it inside a step and breaking those up into steps and bite-sized chunks of information so the learner themselves don't feel overwhelmed. So that's really
Shawn
important.
is an expert, right? So
Yeah.
I've taken training from Shawn Jensen, right? So, and I'm, as people who know me, I'm an awfully bold fella. So if I don't like what you're doing, I'm probably going to tell you. So I can tell you Shawn does a great job. And what Shawn does is that when he teaches people how to use Trainual, in his his coaching sessions he first of all, he makes everything in small digestible pieces, right?
Yes.
And that's what's important, because you have to think about how people consume content. So for example, expectations and the first step are the two parts that Sara decided she's going to talk about when it comes to dusting. She's going to make sure that expectation section is probably just short and sweet. Someone consumes it, but keep in mind that everybody consumes content differently. I actually love to read. Some people, they're never going to read. Some people like to listen. Some people like to visually watch. And what I like about this software, it allows me to make dynamic content very easily and efficiently so that all the different types of learners out there in our workforce can consume it in a way that works for them. Now, I'm going to use Shania as an example. So Shania has this amazing partner, Josh, and he's an airline technician, so an airline mechanic. And I know she'll kill me for calling him a mechanic, but he's high-level airline kind of guy, right? He keeps the airplanes in the sky. And he is a brilliant man. And he is just on this way to the top, right? But the thing is that he has dyslexia, right? So when it comes time to consume the training that they provide to him, that can be really challenging for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when you got to keep in mind that the people on the other end in your workforce might be brilliant people who are going to do a great job if you could teach it to them. And what I like about this program, the software, it allows me and the company that I own to create robust and interactive, dynamic content that can be consumed which way you prefer. If you want to watch a video on it, just watch the video. So every piece of content we make, we create a video. And then we also we translate that video, and we also have it, that in written form. And that's a really powerful part.
Judith has her hand up. Judith, you want to add to that?
I have a question actually about Loom. So I do have a Loom account, but I don't have a paid Loom account. So if I were to use it within here, is it all integrated? Do I have to get a Loom account, or I can just use it within Trainual?
Very
So
great
you
question.
can use it right inside of Trainual. Sorry, Sarah.
No, go ahead, Shawn. You
Yeah.
go.
If you've got a Loom account already, you can actually connect it directly to the Loom integration inside of your account and inside of Trainual. And whatever videos you record from inside of Trainual will be in your Loom account and vice versa.
Okay.
So you're able to do that connection. Yeah.
I have another question about integrations. So we started using Bamboo HR. Obviously, we use QuickBooks for payroll and whatnot. So is it possible to integrate somehow Trainual or set up Zaps? For example, what I'm looking for is maybe just to set up an employee once.
Yes. There's a lot of things that you can do. So we do have Bamboo HR as an integration inside the system. So this really helps with importing users into, or your people into the system with a click of a button. So once that is connected, it's going to give you that little tooltip that it is. And then Bamboo HR is really awesome because they do also connect with Zapier. So if there are more robust workflows that help make your life more efficient and you have some vision on what this would help inside Trainual to connect the two, there's a lot of fun things that you can do with Zapier and Bamboo HR in particular to help make those workflows a little bit more efficient for you as well.
I need to call you guys because I see you have Slack, you have QuickBooks, so that's awesome. So I need to call you guys to set all that up. And I just
bring it to Shawn.
Yeah, let me know. Let's have a chat.
I just have a couple of comments, by the way, just to touch on what Mark was saying is, I think as we're talking about this, and there's going to be a lot of rewatch on this because training is such a crucial element. And every cleaning business owner is so worried about, I don't have time, and oh my God. And my comment to this would be is to set up the time to set up Trainual properly, because it's just going to save you so much time on the long run in the training. And I myself, like, I was so ahead of the game, which I didn't even know, because I had all these recordings on. I recorded myself how to dust, how to clean a bathroom, how to clean a toilet, everything separately. So I just had to upload all that. And I like what Mark was saying, that maybe it has to be written down. Now, like, right now I'm like, ing my pants because I don't know if I want to write it all down. And just in the beginning, when you guys
there's tools that will take your audio and your videos and
I know
for you.
I know.
I'll hook you up with my tool.
I know. But like in the beginning, how you guys were talking about culture, and I have a culture. I hire for values and whatnot. So it's just so nice. I actually literally sit down and I recorded all my mumbo jumbo, what I wanted to say to somebody who's new. And so it's a very easy process. So whoever is ever going to be rewatching this, and I'm sure there's going to be lots, it sounds very daunting, but it's actually really easy, and you can upload it all. So it's kudos to you guys because it's great. And these integrations are amazing. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and we do, like, don't feel like you have to be an integration like master. You know, we have our team members that are trained specifically in Zapier and the integrations that we do offer to provide some guided support throughout. So I know anytime you hear integrations like, oh no, I have all this work I have to do, but just know that you have the team members over here to just help guide you through that, and we'll make it as painless as possible. Shawn promises.
I have virtual assistant to help me with that because that's outside of my expertise.
Yeah.
I hire for outside my expertise.
So a couple other little things that I did want to make sure that we were able to touch on. So processes, again, this whole area is going to be really where you're documenting your department how-to. So you'll notice that you can pin the most important processes that are by a department that you typically will focus on. If I click all in processes, this is going to show me everything that's in my account with my engineering team, with our product team, with our design team, and I don't need to focus on all of that information. So what I've done is taken this and I've pinned these to the side because Shawn and I manage our customer experience department, and we manage these processes that we've outlined. We have specific tools and tech for our department that the company doesn't need access to. And so that's how you delineate of the different department information. And then when you connect people to that content, that's where you get into the people area of focus. But I do want to show you some content. I do want to show you how you connect people to roles, and because that's the most important and critical piece inside Trainual. So let's go ahead and go into the people. I think we have a good understanding of the foundation of how you outline content. I'll show you some examples of content that's built out, and then we'll kind of go into there. So people, there's a lot of things that you can do. So managing your people in here is actually where you get people inside the system, and you're making sure that you're giving them access to whatever role that they need access to, because that will delineate of what type of content they get access to. So you'll also notice team is another layer of being able to filter. So those of you that have a bigger company or different locations, being able to group your people together in different teams is really important too, because if you have a manager that's running a certain location, they want to run reports on how their team is performing, not necessarily by a role for all locations. So it's just really a helpful way just to kind of start filtering that as you grow. So know that just role is going to be the most important piece, but team eventually will help you scale. And then inside the system is where you would actually invite a user. So once you do have any of those integrations enabled, like Bamboo HR, there'll be a dropdown for Bamboo HR to easily import. But for now, just the individual area, their name, their email, job title, and then you provide a permission level. So we do have options. I'm not going to go through all of them. We're kind of coming up on time. But general is going to be where most of your people are just going to be consuming content. So I will show you an example of what a general perspective users looks like from their desk view. So you don't see all the different tabs that are on the left-hand side. So we really want to make it super intentional for your workers, just to not feel like they have to go through a bunch of clicks. They have a mobile application that they can go to, either an iOS or Android app, to consume that information. They get the notifications on the go. And then you have people like Mark and Shania who are actually running and building out the systems and processes to make the company run. But then roles are going to be the area where you start delineating content to people. And so what we've recently released as another exciting feature is our role builder. We'll get to the directory and org chart in just a second, but the role builder is really where you start mapping out what type of roles you have in the company. So in the case of time, customer success manager. So we have Shawn and I, we built out two different areas because we realized with onboarding our new hires, we didn't want to give them too much information. So we have basics of type of content that we assign new hires so they get access to the information that they need for them to just hit the ground running. So we have our overview and processes. So again, these are correlated with your subjects that you're building out. These could live in your processes, they could live in policies or company, but essentially your processes should be department specific. So that's where you correlate any subject matter that you've built out or created some sort of framework to. You manage this, you can add any other subjects to that role as time permits. And then the people are going to be all the people that are associated with that role. So we know in one snapshot who has access to what. The other critical component is like the basics and the responsibilities. So being able to outline the responsibility of what that role encompasses. So as an example, we just built out a role because we had a new hire for our product consultant. And so if I click into product consultant, I think this one's built out. Sorry, let me back up one step. Product consultants, we've actually built out the responsibilities in here. So now they know exactly what their responsibilities are that are associated with that particular role. And then if I outline a responsibility for a particular system that they manage, I can also link out that system. So they have access to exactly where they need to go to, or I can interlink anything inside of Trainual. So you're creating this ecosystem where all of these different pieces of information are flying all over the place, but you have one simple place where any team member can actually view the responsibilities of another team member, and they understand exactly what their role is and what their responsibilities are tied to that role. And then again, as a manager or somebody that's an admin in the account, I can see what type of subject matter that they're assigned and who needs access to that. Any questions, comments on this? Because Mark, I know you can relate this back to the cleaning industry.
Yeah, but what I want to say is that like my friends are in the house cleaning industry, the residential cleaning industry. They're my peeps. Okay. So the thing is that, I have some friends like Royce R with My Amazing Maids. He's a power user down there, and I introduced him to Trainual. And Royce comes from the telecom industry, and the man's brilliant, but some people are, as we say in Newfoundland, half stunned like me. And so when you look at these powerful features, sometimes they can be a little intimidating. And what I want to make clear to people is that you can work your way into the more powerful features. So for example, you can simply just go in, click a button and say, how to clean a bathroom. Click, how to clean a bathroom. Write down, cleaning the tub. And then go, step 1, pre-treat. Step 2, use this tool. Step 3, rinse, whatever. And as you become more comfortable inside of the software, you can drag and drop. And that's one of the really powerful parts of the software is the drag and drop. So I'm going to really drive that home because I know some people are going to get intimidated in our industry. And I mean, our billing service contractors that have 1,000 professional cleaners that clean Pearson International Airport, they're not going to be intimidated by this. And they're going to be very happy to see this software. And Tanya's going to make sure that gets over to them, right, through our director, Mike. But the thing is that, in the residential side, it can be a little more intimidating. So when I first worked on an offshore oil rig, 500 kilometers off the coast of Newfoundland, I mean, I'd done all the safety training. And when I got on that rig for the 21-day stint, I was certain that I was going to get crushed by a pipe. So every second I was just afraid. There was cranes going over my head and helicopters were landing. It was intense, right? But so everything was very fast and very noisy. But as I got more comfortable and I started to really get acclimated to being on an oil rig, it started to feel very simple and very safe. And yes, I could get crushed if I walked over there, but I don't walk over there. And I don't got to worry about the helicopter or the ship or the waves. And when you're first looking at a piece of software and you're just a regular person like Mark Baker, and you see all of these policies, people, procedures, it can be a lot. And I just want to make it clear to people that, you know what? This is high level stuff they're showing us. But we can also keep this real simple on your end. And you don't have to do any of that. You can just keep it simple. And then once you've built it out, it's like, hey, maybe I think that this belongs in the company section. You simply take it and you just drag it and drop it in company. So what might seem overwhelming at the beginning really isn't. And I want to make that super clear to people. And not only myself as a certified Trainual consultant, Trainual itself had people like Shawn Jensen and some other the names I saw up there as well. And they're there to hold your hand legitimately. They will hold your hand, right? And there's also a conglomerate of other certified Trainual consultants as well. So if my style of teaching you how to use Trainual don't fit your need, there's hundreds of us. And keep in mind that you don't have to get a consultant and, pay them a consultancy fee for help if you don't want to. Trainual are very happy to help implement and get you up and running. And I want to make that very clear. So don't get intimidated.
Yes.
I appreciate that. One thing so I've been here for 2.5 years. So I was employee number 9. So Sarah beat me by a little bit there, but but one of the things that I've always loved about what we've done at Trainual is that we are our own customer, right? We are a small business. We are growing. We've had growing pains. We've had to figure things out. We got to a point where suddenly Chris, our founder, was like, all right, we need to, you guys, we've hired all these people. We need to get our processes documented. We need to do what we say to do. And we got it all in. And to your point, Mark, and this should always be your phase 1 with any of this. Just document, right?
Just get it out.
Get it out there. And then you can come back and Sarah brought this up at the very beginning. This is a living, breathing thing. So we can always come back and refine and enhance and so on. So the great point you bring up there. And we are, as you're seeing our account right here, you see that it's not done yet because we're still doing stuff. We're still refining. We're still adjusting to it. So really appreciate those insights, Mark.
Yeah. And done is better than none is what I say to people. Look, you might be, I remember recording a no smoking policy. I took my phone, I pressed record just on the camera recorder on my phone. I put it up so it's safe. I wasn't touching it while I was driving. And as I was driving to the office, I just spoke about our no smoking policy. And I used to be hung up on that. How will they feel? Am I dressed appropriately as the president of this company? Well, what are the things, right? Are they going to judge me by the fact that I still drive the 2014 Escape? All these things go through your head, and at least my crazy head. So the thing is that I just had to get past that and just say done is better than none. And truthfully, we do a lot. We're one of the larger house cleaning entities in the entire country of Canada. And let me tell you something, it's crickets around here. It's crickets, because every one of our people know how to do their jobs. And I really want to point out there are two things. One, I want to say Trainual is a knowledge base, and that is really, really important. So for example, sometimes we'll get a call, and Shania right now, she's building the support training. So she's staffing the support lines. So she'll say, hello, Terrence, how may I assist you today? And Terrence is a provider in the field. And Terrence will say, well, I'm having a little bit of trouble getting this tub clean. And she'll say, well, fantastic, Terrence, I'd like you to type in the word tub. And he'll hop into Trainual and he'll type in tub. And it's like, oh my God, look, there's 19 places tub is mentioned. And then it's like, okay, well, what is the color of the soil? Soil is not earth, guys, for our non-cleaning friends. Soil is any unwanted matter. What is the color of the soil on the tub, right? And then with that, he'll say, well, it's kind of orange. Type in orange soil. Here's the product I need to use to clean it. Wow, thanks, Shania. And so what we do is we train them to help themselves, but also our support agents can go into this knowledge base and type in real time and access this knowledge and talk about that. Now, here's what's really powerful. There's a Trainual user that used to be a member of our cleaning council, and he works with really high-end consumers, in Montreal that are in a $3.5 million house that's 9,500 square feet. And they have one piece of furniture that costs $19,000, and there is very specific rules on how you clean that furniture. Okay.
Yes.
And what he does is he creates, instead of having a subject on how to clean a tub, he has a subject called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And then he breaks down Mr. and Mrs. Smith's house by topic. And he explains, so when they have to onboard a new provider, they let Mr. and Mrs. Smith know, hey, Mary has moved on to a new career. We have a new provider. His name is Thomas. He's been with us for 2 years, and he's taken the Trainual course on how to clean for you and your house. And what that does is that allows him to supply a level of house cleaning that's just rarely seen in our industry, and charge $47 to $57 an hour for it. So Trainual is unlimited in how you use it. Now, time is limited. Obviously, Sarah will get used to me being a terrible interrupter, but it comes from a good place, Sarah. But what I love it is that Shania has lived in Trainual for a year. Shania used Trainual as a professional house cleaner during 2 extended summers, working as she'd done her engineering education at the college here. She graduated from engineering. She decided to stay and help me build this national company. I am blessed. So she brings that logical, linear engineer type thinking. She brings the fact that she knows what it's like to be a provider in the field, doing a very hard job of cleaning houses. And now she knows what it's like to build a national organization within Trainual. So we have a few minutes left. I would love for Shania to just speak honestly about her experience living in Trainual, and specifically building our support agent training program within Trainual. Shania, are you able to speak on that today at all?
Yeah, I sure can try. I'm not nowhere near as good as presenting as all of you, but
She's shy.
yeah, no, when you mentioned collections, Sarah, when I started doing the support training that I'm building now, I was building it out, and like a lot of the other training that we have in there that's not published, it's just a place that we store and we can edit and then publish when needed. It's all like just there. And I was like, I have to build this training, and I'm gonna, you can assign it to me and then you still got to search it. But when I noticed collections, I was like, oh, this is new. What is this? And I typed it in and I pinned it to the side, like you said. So every time I go in to work on my training, it's right there where I need it. I click it, opens up for me. Nothing else is in the way. It's just a beautiful system. I love collections. Thank you so much for that. I'm a very organized person, so the more organized it can be, the better. Um, I truthfully love the analogy that you used, like a chapter in a book, and then the steps are kind of like pages. For me, I really struggled with that because that's kind of how Mark was helping me to like break down the training and to know what needs to be a chapter, what needs to be a page. But like I didn't quite get it fully when he explained it to me. So I use courses, subjects, and then like the topics within the subject because it's labeled
Perfect.
subject, topic, and step. But for me, I'm school related. I think, how I learn a course. In the course, you have different subjects that you teach, and then they have topics. So I broke it down that way. And when he used that with me, I was like, oh, I get it now. Like I understand. So when I was going back and doing my third version of the support training because it takes time to get it right. I broke it down even better and apart because we use a lot of software on our back end and the support agents are going to need to know every bit of the software that like Trainual, there's a lot to know, but you need to know how to use it properly. And when you break it down, like Trainual is its own course. And in that course, it teaches you all the different little things you need to know about Trainual, how to build a course, how to log in, like simple little things, minimal content in each step so that, you can retain it easy. It's just, honestly, I love Trainual and I love teaching. So Trainual makes that a wonderful experience for me. Other than that, I mean, there's so much about Trainual that I don't even know that is available to me. Like some stuff you were talking about with integrations and things, I wasn't even aware because I'm just face and eyes into doing certain things with the support training now that I haven't done a deep dive. But to know that that stuff is there and all the different options is just, it's fantastic. So thank
And
you guys.
Shania, thank you so much for that. I know a hard stop's going to come in 3 minutes. Tanya is pretty religious about making hard stops at the end time. So I just want to throw out a couple of quick things for those 2 minutes. One is mbaker@motivatedbrands.ca. You can reach us at 888-410-6243. Ask for Mark. And if anyone is looking for some assistance in kind of getting their training up and running, thank you, Sarah. Think about this. This is a massive company with hundreds of people. I think in 2020, they've done 6 million in sales. Maybe they're at 25 million now. I'm not sure where Trainual is. But what I can tell you is that, we've got first 9 people to work with this company ever in here, right? This is pretty big. So I'm impressed. And I want to thank you both. They've done a 10% off your entire first year, ISSA 10. Okay. And if you click the link below, okay, what can happen is that you can get a week free trial and jump on in. Thank you so very much. Shania, I want you to share with them really quickly. When someone in the field gets some feedback, some negative feedback, and they have to go back and do a reclean. What do we do in Trainual? Reclean equals what?
Reclean equals a retrain. So whatever section they lack in, we reset it, they go in and they relearn it.
Perfect. So it's beautiful. So if there's a dusting feedback and Sara Martlage says, hey, you guys are wonderful, but it's a 4.5 out of 5 because you didn't dust my house very well. Well, not only will we go back and reclean that, but we go into that specific provider and we say, hey, Tom, click, you had to redo the dusting training. And you can do that on an individual level or on a company-wide level. And that's really powerful in the house cleaning industry. Thank you, everybody. Tanya?
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I'm sorry we are kind of at the end of time, but if you do have any questions, I would suggest that you reach out to Mark Baker. I did include his email address in the chat, but it will appear on the screen for our video viewers. Shawn, Sarah, Mark, thank you. Judith and Shania, also, thank you very much. And all of our other participants. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next month for the next coffee talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.